Hey guys, Joshua Peterson, Peterson Electric. It is April 20th of 2020. It's like the 7th week of COVID. So you'll probably remember this video based on this. I try to do one interesting video a week for you guys that are my followers. This one is kind of unique, and I don't want to pick on any big name brand companies because I'm just a small guy in the sea. But I used to be an appliance tech 3 years before the 20 years ago when I became an electrician, so about 23 years ago. And I've not had too often static shocks, but I do. So my SEO guy is going to look at this as either two things to label. One is static shock, probably the best way. Normally it's going to be too much soap in an old carpet and not getting it out. And then you put slippers on. In the older homes with a lot of dust, you'll get it more often. If you have a lot of dog hair, our dogs are Yorkies, so they're called hairless, but that means they have hair, and they don't shed. I don't have that issue, but people that have a lot of large dogs that have static on them and dust, that'll create a lot more with the hair in the house. And you know, with wood floors, you can look along the edge. Hers is actually pretty clean. Her dogs don't seem like they shed a lot, but the big dogs, they shed really bad. So what happens is you're going to build up a negative and positive reaction going on in your clothes like cotton, and you're energizing that as you drag your feet. And so when you get certain materials like cotton or polyester or some of that stuff will energize. And then when you go to touch a switch and you basically miss it and hit that, well, that ground screw has static. And if you have a big old metal faceplate and you went up to Estes Park and you got those cute little iron bears that they made and you screw that puppy on, it's gigantic, right? Well, guess what? That's just like saying, hey, go ahead and discharge me. So I'm not against them, but I do like nylon plates, and I do like plates that are faceless without screws because it seems to slow down on that, but a lot of our stuff is plastic, and that's what helps with that. With her situation, she said, hey Josh, I feel like something happened. My house is about 7 years old. Kind of gave me an age. I knew the neighborhood. I've already been over at her house before. So a good customer, but I knew she wasn't off her rocker when she said a couple things to me. And one was static, and two was my coffee pot blew up as I hit the button. So the biggest thing I was concerned about was the phone. The phone actually with the Apple is a metal phone, and she doesn't have a plastic case like I do. So somehow it created a static and it discharged through her, or the LCD board decided to finally fail. But I went ahead with her permission because it was pretty much toast when I plugged it in, and I traced through this. This little board receives 120 volts and then 15 millivolts on the backside. That board looked okay. The fuse looked good. This thermal fuse and the element was reading good continuity, but when I got to the LCD board here, I got a light in here, but I got no response. So I'll plug it in. A lot of you guys are all scared about it, but this counter is not going to create electricity for me to get shocked. See, I finally got it lit, and I was trying to hit a couple commands to try to get it to reset, and now it won't even do that now. So something's died inside this LCD board. But I do want to say this with some phone company, I'm not going to say the name because I'm not 100% sure. There was two situations that my wife and I read about in this last year that a teenager, one I think was local actually to Colorado, was getting in the tub and charging their phone. Now, whether they had a very long cord like hers, probably what I think it was, like these 8-footers. If you're taking that device and you're plugging it in, your 120 volt comes in, and then it's going to manipulate it and lower the voltage to 12 volts or 15 millivolts. But once it charges your phone, a lot of people are like, well, I don't think I'll get shocked. If you notice something about these phones, they don't have a ground port. That's because it's plastic. But these transformers, I've had them melt down. Here's the thing. They really didn't want to seem like say on the news why or what because they couldn't figure it out. So they kind of linked it to an old home without GFI protection in the bathroom. If she didn't have GFCI protection, that might have still stayed energized when she got shocked, right? So how do you prove it's an electrocution or a shock? So look, when you're trying to call up and you say you got electrocuted, I don't think you're really getting electrocuted. If you get electrocuted, you're held on and you're not letting go. And I know this because I've had it many times, especially at 277 volt with the backside of a neutral in a commercial situation. You're not getting off. If you do, it's the grace of God. If you get bumped, you could feel like you're getting shocked. Now, how do you know the difference? Well, if you've ever been shocked on a car that's DC, it's like hit you in the chest, feels like a pin needle. If it's AC, it's going to pulsate a little and tingle. But if it's a shock, static shock hurts just as bad. And for some other people who wear a lot of jewelry, guess what? That jewelry is discharging too around your neck, your ears, or your finger. And those are sensitive parts. So when you get hit, you're not really sure right away. I say this much, if you're getting hit over there on a switch, it is possible that the switch wire broke off, you have a non-grounded home, and that metal faceplate is energized. It takes a few sequences for a perfect storm like that. Well, with her scenario, it could have been true that this had freaked out. So what I was going to tell her over the phone, I forgot to, was take it and plug it into another GFI. See if it blows it again. If you have gardening gloves, put them on one hand. Protect yourself, okay? Because if it arcs and sparks and acts unfriendly, then you're probably going to know there's an issue there. But this gal that died in Colorado, this kid, it's possible that water linked to that, because those are little transformers. And when that transform, it is possible that they could have got electrocuted because there is no thermal protection or reset button on that. Mm-hmm. So if the GFI tripped, guess what happened? She might have energized from the phone straight into here to this board, but she didn't have it plugged in. So it leads me to believe it could have been a really strong static shock. Now, I know this much, that she lives over here by Boyd Lake, and there is a lot of storms that come through here. And when storms come through across the lake, it definitely can have a lot more issues near that land when storms roll through with the negative and positive of what's going on between the clouds and the water. And then you've got some dry desert area in Colorado. So it is possible. I used to live in Douglas County in Littleton years ago, and we had a lot more powerful lightning storms than I see up in northern Colorado. But I don't live on a lake either. I'm about 2 miles from it, so I don't get much. But she gets a lot more than we do. And we're only 2 miles away. Anyways, hopefully the guys help you out to isolate a little bit. You know, it's not that I don't mind coming out proving that you can get electrically shocked, but I'm going to ask a few leading questions about dog hair, carpet, vacuuming being cleaned out, and did you go to another switch and get bumped again? Because that's the key point. Mm-hmm. Go to your other room if the circuit's not applying to the same issue. Drag your feet. If you get hit over there, it's possible it's just static. You need to clean your carpet or replace your rug. Or wash your dog. Thanks, guys, for joining us. Have a good one.